So electric vehicles are here to stay. They are going to penetrate world markets. Last year, about 8% of new car sales last year were electrics, maybe 5% in the US. Many of the European countries over 20%. We now have about 16 million EVs on the road out of 1.4 billion light vehicles. And by the way, this doesn't include hybrid cars that aren't plug-in, that have an internal combustion engine and an electric engine as well, like the early Prius. There's about 10 million of those out there as well. Automakers are all in for EVs. Tesla producing 300,000 cars per quarter. All the majors, GM all electric by 2035. GM recently announced, I think a week or two ago, that they wanted to buy all green steel in Europe. Not sure where they're going to get that from, but that's their plan. And Europe has announced everything will be zero emission by 2035. 100% CO2 reduction for new light vehicles. That was on October 27th. That still needs to be voted on and approved by the member states. I think that means they're not going to allow hybrids that have internal combustion engines. I tend to think hybrids are a pretty good idea. You know, it's you combine the best of an electric, and you got the two engines, a little more expensive maybe. But I think they want to get rid of anything that's an internal combustion engine. Electric vehicles have certain advantages. The big one is you can charge at home, which can be less expensive and very convenient. Quieter ride, simpler engines, lower maintenance. Except the tires. As I'm going to mention in a moment, electrics tend to be about 50% heavier, so more tire wear. But you notice I didn't put down less pollution. There's almost nothing that comes out of your car tailpipe today except carbon dioxide and water vapor. Volatile organic compounds are down more than 98% since 1970, what comes out of the tailpipe of your car. Now, I should qualify, if you're in India or China and you don't have pollution control devices on your cars, catalytic converters, et cetera, this may be a shortcut way to reduce real pollutants as well, to go to electric. So there's could be some advantage there. Okay, what'd I do? So an EV disadvantage is weight and driving range. Take a look at this little model up here. That's supposed to be a Honda Civic. It has 77 pounds of fuel and a 12.4 gallon gas tank, can go 360 miles. So if you take the 77 pounds and you put it in a Chevy Volt EV battery, you can go 21 miles. You've got to scale up that battery by a factor of 17 so that it can go the same distance, if you want to go the same distance. That means that for the same distance, EVs are going to be about 50% heavier than regular internal combustion engine cars. And after drivetrain adjustments, electric motors are more efficient. You still need about 9 pounds of battery for every 1 pound of gasoline. Vehicle cost, big disadvantage for EVs. A 2020 Toyota Corolla manufacturer price recommended about $20,000. 54% premium to get a Chevy Bolt. Again, operating costs, probably cheaper to charge at home, maybe more expensive to charge out at a commercial charger. And in Europe, with the price of electricity, it's very quickly going to get more expensive to charge at home than to use a petrol vehicle. During this recent energy crisis, the price of petrol in the UK was up about 40%, and the price of electricity would be up about 7 or 8 times. Now, a lot of that is constrained by the government restrictions, but it's going to get there eventually unless those prices come down. There's a very poor business case for chargers. I've spoken to a bunch of convenience store groups, and not many gas station folks want to put in a charging station. The reason is a comparison. A gasoline pump costs you about $20,000. You can serve a customer in 6 minutes, which means about 120 customers a day. If you put in a EV, a 50 kilowatt high-speed charger, it costs you about $100,000. You can serve a customer in 30 minutes. That means 24 customers in a day. So you can serve 5 times as many customers with a traditional gasoline pump for 1/5 of the cost. Makes it kind of a poor deal. Now, we do have a lot of money going out to put chargers in. One of those guys getting the money is Electrify America. They're the second biggest charging company in the US, pretty far behind Tesla. They have 3,500 charging stations. And they put out a press release a couple weeks ago saying in 2021 they had 1.45 million customer charging sessions. So I did a little math. It takes 365 days a year, and you divide all that together. They're getting about a little over 1 charging session per charger per day. Anybody think you can run a business like that? Obviously, that's going to go up, but it's going to be very, very tough for these to break even. My prediction is that if electric vehicles take off, the government is going to fund utilities to do this and put these all over, and because there is really not a business case for a commercial, a capital system with chargers. Electric vehicles are also very metals intensive. Data here from the International Energy Agency. It takes about 6 times the special metals of an EV takes 6 times the special metals of an internal combustion engine